channel. I'm Campbell, artist, author, etc., etc. Today we are on part 3 of a how to draw on toned paper series. I'm giving out this packet. I don't know why I just said that, it's so weird. And the reason that this packet is kind of helpful is because it has a reference face that we're doing today, along with the concepts that we've been learning from week to week, and including supplies, and it also has my face guidelines in it for today's project. So lots of good reasons. If you would like a copy of this, just let me know in the comment section. I will drop you a link that just delivers it to your inbox. Super easy. So part 1 of the series, we went over concepts, supplies. Part 2, we went over this concept both on white paper and then what that means in terms of drawing on toned paper. And then today we are going to be using the same concepts, and we're going to be drawing this face in all of its highlights and shadows on toned paper right now. I will meet you at your art table. Grab the PDF if you want to draw along, and yeah, I'm really excited to show you all the things faces related. I'm working on the gray toned paper. I just think if you're a beginner at this, it's easier to understand this on the gray toned. And to recap, no, there's no recrapping. To recap the first week that we were talking about this, basically you're responsible when you're working on toned paper, you're responsible for any blacks you see, dark grays, medium grays, and then the light grays are your paper. So you don't have to draw any of those, and then you'll be doing white. So every time if you're drawing on a white piece of paper, you're responsible for everything except white, right? Everything except the whites that are the highlighted regions. And on toned paper, you are responsible for everything except for the mid-tone. So anytime there is a medium tone, you don't have to draw that part. So it's just a weird, like, you're swapping what's important, or you're swapping your responsibilities. You're only responsible, again, for blacks and whites, but it's so fun because all these little poppy whites, you can use white for the outline to make them all pop. You can have these very specific areas, again, like the whites of the eyes, down the nose bridges. You can do all sorts of fun things once you start getting the hang of what it means, like on the face especially. Areas that come forward, like your cheekbones, chin, nose bridge, forehead, the little eyebrow bones, those all get a nice pop of white. So doing faces on toned paper can be really fun, dramatic, and exciting. So this is obviously a super, super fun, loose style. And I don't want to get real serious today. I don't want this to be like really highly realistic. That's just not what we're here for. We're here for having fun and really to hammer home the concepts. More so than being super accurate. So if I end up with a more fun fab style or whimsy style, I'm doing that on purpose because the emphasis here is on the highlights and shadows and not making perfect faces. Not being perfect ever, because that's annoying. All right, get out your face guideline sheet because this is numero uno. I can't talk today. Numero uno important, okay? We are going to literally start with this oval. So get out your paper, and we're gonna be doing this right now. All right, I'm doing lots and lots of ovals, as you can see. So don't worry about it. One of them will look fine eventually, so just keep zooming around until you have something that kind of looks like an oval. All right, I'm literally drawing these guidelines exactly as they are on this guidelines sheet. So one down the center, and because you have this sheet, I don't have to be super slow about it. One across the middle is the eye line. Divide that in half again. And I don't care how many books I've published, how many faces I've drawn, hundreds, I still draw my guidelines every single time. Every time, okay? And you notice I'm not looking at my reference yet, because weirdly 99% of Americans, anyone in the world, and I know this because I just published a book on whimsical women of the world, and we all start out where all our features are all proportioned the same, so it's pretty awesome. It's pretty good cheat for learning to draw faces in general. We're doing squished ovals everywhere, 3 across. Again, this is all on your guideline sheet, so print that sucker out and have it next to you when we're drawing together. 3 eyes across. We're gonna do a little nose blob in the middle, and then we're gonna do a little mouth blob. We are in full alien view right now. It's right where we wanna be. I'm actually gonna like, ooh, she's got some good cheekbone action. All right, I have a whole series on facial features and face shapes and hair. If you haven't done that series yet, you can check that out. I have a 20-page PDF packet that goes along with that series. I'll link to that for you here as well. It's just really good practice if you like drawing faces like I do. All right, so we have kind of her face, hair. All right, now I am going to the reference. Her hairline, okay, so she's got a side part. So hair comes, here's the top of our oval. We're gonna come down into the oval. Her part is in here. And then it kind of goes back like that. Okay, it's like right-hand side. And hair has a lot of volume, so it comes down into the face, into the oval of the face, I should say. Okay, and it also comes across the forehead. I don't know, it's magically like staying back here somewhere. I don't even know how she's doing that. And her neck is inside here and here. So just on either side of the jaw. I have the worst time making my jaw even, so I'm not even gonna worry about it. And then this is just hair and hair. And then head hair has volume. So we go up and over her head oval and down like here. My girl is like really wider and wider than my actual reference. I don't care. Okay. Doo-boo-boo. Yes. I'm drawing humongous today, but that's how I pretty much draw every day. My students know that about me. I like have an inability to draw at a reasonable scale. Okay, so we gotta like fine tune some features here. So I'm gonna zoom in, but I'm still looking at my reference to just give me some basic information like eye shape. She has super big eyes. So I'm gonna start here and we're just gonna go up and down. And the eyelids, she actually goes this way. And then she's really big eyes, love it. Okay, then I'm gonna skip over here and we're gonna try to make this kind of look the same. They never really look exactly the same. Don't sweat it. Just move on with your life because it's all good. And we're gonna kind of do that one the same. So once they're kind of in the same-ish territory, sweet, good enough. That's my mantra. She has interesting eyelids. They're really close. And then they kind of bang into the top of her eye. So we're gonna go up and then they kind of bang into the top of her eye and go over. And you don't even have to be using this reference right now, but I kind of like it, so I'm doing it. Nose bridge is going to be all in shadow, but I can see it really distinctly. So I'm actually she has a little kink in her nose right here. So I'm actually gonna pop that in because I'm staring right at it. So her nose, so the bottom of that oval, boop, zooming straight up, straight in. There's this little dip right where her nose is, and then her nostrils kind of come up like that. I'm just looking at my reference here to guide me. And then we're gonna do little parentheses for the side of her nose. Now the black part is, these are looking a little piggy. We might have to change these. Poor girl. I'm not trying to make her not look good. Okay. Boo, boo, boo. Now, her irises, her eyes are so big and beautiful. They're actually more roundy than I have them. They're actually like really, really distinctly large. So you can make them larger than you want. You can erase as much or as little as you like. I do love using a circle template for the irises because it makes it easier to match up. So somewhere in here is fine, and it's just nice because you can grab the same one and at least you know they're the same, they're the same size. So that's pretty cool. She does have kind of an eyes of wonder kind of looking at you, looking at us. And then there's a little tear duct here. And notice I'm not really erasing much. I'm like leaving my guidelines on. I'm leaving all the redrawn lines. This eye is way bigger than the other eye. I'm noticing as well. But whatever, it's fine. All right, so now we're gonna go down to her lip. So there's her little lip dip right here. And you can see that's like super in shadow, but I actually see this like triangle shape like this. And then, oh, I'm noticing all my highlights and shadows. She has such a pretty upper lip. It's not even funny. It's like perfectly like Cupid's shape. And then we can make her have a little upturned mouth, makes her look pretty happy. And then we're just gonna make her have a random bottom lip. I don't wanna spend too much time on facial features. Ooh, she's a little, tiny little butt chin. And blah, blah, blah. Okay, now we can make her pupils. You can even use this for your pupils as well. Just doing this girl quick and dirty because we are here really for the shading and the highlights and shadows more than anything else. Oh, I already didn't keep track of what size that was. This one, I guess, and this one. Make sure your pupils are in the middle of your irises. I see it a lot of times. Pupils get like lost in some really interesting places. Oh no, my battery's running low. Okay, so eyebrows, they start right above the eye. And they can be way up here, they can be way down here. I'm just gonna do some little caterpillar squiggly eyebrows to get us started here. Squiggle squid. She actually has pretty nice eyebrows and I'm not doing them justice. Sorry, girlfriend. Squiggling for time purposes. That's a very nicely shaped brows. Okay. Now I feel like I need to pretty her up a little bit. I didn't really make her that pretty. How do we pretty her up? Well, first of all, I need to erase some of these guidelines. Now we can erase the guidelines because they're pretty much, all the features are in where they need to go. And now I just need to, now's the fun part. Now's the part where we identify where things are on the value scale, what gets highlighted and what stays the paper and what gets shaded. So now this is where all of our learning is culminating at this final drawing the test is on. I just need to change my battery really quick and then we will go ahead and get all that shading and highlighting and everything done. All right, and before we tweak anything, we're gonna go back to our sheets and look at our value scale so we know what we're doing and where. Okay, so I took, and you have these all in your packet. So this is the lightest shade, which is lighter than here, okay? So as you can see, her face, so we're gonna say the paper is like around here, where the HB and 2B are. It is like a medium gray. Her face here is really lighter than all of that, which kind of stinks because I don't really wanna highlight her whole face, but that's what the picture, that's what the photograph really looks like. So that's what we're gonna draw, okay? And then as you can see how far away the other parts of her face are from that value. This is the mid value. This is when we're going, this is actually the color of the paper pretty much. So the areas that we're not gonna have to color in very much are really here and like her neck. That's just the regular. And then as you can see, oh, here's white. So this will be like the highlights, which will be like a really strong white. We could even do the background can be punched out with the white. Like this part of her face. If you notice, her forehead is a little bit darker than that white. So that can be more the paper. And then, yeah, it's like this side of her face can be the white, and then we'll phase it out and get more shadow on this side. So follow me, but you have these little sheets. Oh, and then there's the black, which you can see like this one gets lost. So these are really, really black. This shadow is black. This shadow is black. Her hair is black. So that's gonna be super fun. And you have all little mini versions of that in the packet that you got from me. So here is this, can also help us, as well as this. It's kind of the same thing drawn 2 times, and hopefully you've drawn along with me. This is also in your packet, so you can create under this actual value scale with your pencils, and don't forget black and don't forget white. So we're gonna literally like scan across her this way until we have her all shaded properly. I should probably get some charcoal because then we can do this way faster than if we were doing this with just pencil. Let's see if I have any charcoal hanging out that's really at the ready. I don't, but I have Sharpies. I haven't gone gangbusters on a drawing in a really, really long time. Okay, I'm just gonna make her a little like sexier, I think. Just kind of like mess with her eyebrows a little bit. Maybe we can give her kind of like a real smile here. And then of course we're gonna get her some good eyelashes. So that is a coming. All right, so let's go. So we have, I'm gonna go light to dark. And then, but I'm gonna do the real highlights last. So remember, here's our value scale, here's our, and I'm literally looking at each one and seeing where we need to put which one. So again, this is gonna be white or light. So I am just gonna go really, it's better when you have little peaks of white, but whatever. This was the reference that I chose, so I gotta made my bed, now I gotta lie in it. Okay, Now this is interesting. We get to her chin. You notice her chin has a shadow shape in her chin. So we have to draw that shadow shape on her chin right now. So as you can see, there's this shadow. It looks like this. There's like a little, because I can draw with my pencil. There's this little part that comes up like this. Remember I said she had a butt chin? That's what I meant by a butt chin. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just saying I just kind of see a little butt right there. And then look at this. This is almost black under her chin. If you're too scared to go all the way to black, just start off with gray just to get the party started. Just to get something down. And the blending stick can do a lot of work for us as well. Okay, just do that. Yes, okay. Where were we? We had this annoying amount of white everywhere. Now there's a little bit of a shadow here I'm seeing, here. Okay, same thing. Now this side of her lip dip is super white bright, as is here. But then there's like a really strong right here in her lip dip. I'm sure you can see that. And then kind of here is bright too. And here. It's like the shading and the shadow actually makes shapes on her. So we have to try to draw them on correctly. Right? And this part of her nose there's no shading whatsoever. It's just all the same. But I do stop here and see their shading here. So I'm gonna leave that alone for a minute. Now let's look at her forehead. Her forehead all the way to here is pretty kind of white. So I'm just gonna kind of do that, okay? Now let's take a hop skip back. And we're gonna say, okay, well that was white. Where do we put, now remember these shades are the paper. So we're not gonna color in like all the way here. And we're gonna leave that area. Let's jump to the dark darks and go there next. The dark darks, that's a technical term. I love my China markers for this because I find that if I just vary my pressure, I can vary the look. So remember, you pull down on the string with your teeth. My teeth. Now it's in my mouth, gross. And then you just tear this. Again, I don't care that there's no tip because I want like broad areas to be shaded. So that's why I like this blunt tip. So over here, it is like super dark right here. So I'm just going for it. It's also on this side of her eye, it's really dark. Like it's really dark in here. So I'm just making it really dark. Then it kind of fades to gray. So we're gonna start using pencil as well. So I'm just doing the real darkest spots in this. And then I will switch over to pencil because this doesn't blend and pencil does. But like, this really is that dark over here. Like I can't see any glimmer of anything happening. So I'm just going and looking and going and looking, and see how you can see this shape over here. I mean, it's even blacker than that in here. So I'm just pushing down a little bit higher. Her eyebrows are pitch black. I can't even see them in here. And then again, like even under her mouth is that black. And then her mouth itself is actually really black. So again, I'm just comparing what I see with my eyeballs, and I'm trying to recreate the black spots, parts that I see on her person. On her person, okay? And then like her eyebrow here is just black hair, so that's blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I know she looks crazy town, and this is the ugly phase, and the ugly phase happens every drawing, so don't worry about it. Be like, what up, ugly phase? I was expecting you. I actually can't believe it took you this long to show up. And then that's fine, and then you just keep on chucking. So then I'm gonna grab, remember I said we needed to switch to a pencil because the pencils blend and that China marker doesn't. So you can grab a dark, I have so many pencils next to me. Here's like a 6B. And you can actually put the pencil kind of in with the China marker, because then you can kind of layer it up. Now this is, again, this is kind of becomes the color of the paper. So you don't actually need to do much shading there because that is the paper itself. And then this, so her lips are kind of this, well, they're probably more the color of the paper as well, come to think of it. Yeah, so this side is the paper, and then we have a little bit of black on her chinny chin. And again, now I'm just using a colored pencil, which is not as jet black as the China. It's more of like a gray, but you also can't blend it. So just be careful with what you can blend and with what you can't blend. So now you can take your blending stump and see if you can make some sense of this gobbledygook that is the ugly face. Again, super normal. I noticed right off the bat she actually has the shading kind of here on this eye. And then she also, see how dark it is under her eye right here? It's like, I don't even know what that is, but there's like a, and her eyes are really, really dark. And you notice too, so I'm gonna actually take my blending stump and like smear that around to create the value of the color. This is also why I keep the references in black and white. And her whole white of her eye is like shaded. This eye is all dark. You can barely see anything. And this kind of shades in and becomes the paper. And then this eye is really, really white. So we're gonna leave that alone. Remember I said that this part was kind of a shady part. And I'm kind of just blending the graphite where it's really dark in those super duper dark areas. So it's like most of this, we're not making good use of the tone paper because most of it is either lighter or darker and is not the tone paper. But that's all right. All right, now I'm gonna take my Sharpie. I have a little Sharpie party. So the hair is black. There's like no mistaking the hair is black. Interestingly, Sharpies are like, kind of have like a interesting, almost like a blue tone. She's like, what are you doing to my hair? I can see her judging me. But she's also smirking, so that's okay. Deep down, she thinks it's cool. All right, so we have that. Now let's get some black going on for her eyes. I have not used my Sharpies in like a million years. Oh, you know what I'm gonna use instead actually? Is my Pentel pocket brush pen that I'm obsessed with. It's this little pocket pen right here. And it makes like a brushy. So, oh, you know what's tricky about that is it doesn't work over some of the, probably doesn't work over the China marker. So I'm outlining her eye because it's outlined with makeup, with like a lot of makeup. So I'm actually gonna outline that, and her irises are pitch black, as is her pupil. So those are like, I am drawing, and her eyelid as well is pitch black. I'm gonna give her some lashes, because come on. Like no lashes, it's just sad and boring. This is art class after all. We have to have a little fun. Okay, so we have that one. Then we're gonna have this one, which doesn't work awesome over the China marker, but I'm gonna ignore that fact. Remember, she had that weird, oh, and her eyebrows are super in different places. Great, just gonna ignore that entirely. And we gotta, yeah, chuck in her other pupil there. Yes, so the other places, now I'm only allowed to use this where things are really, really, truly black. I can't just go use it anywhere. So we can fill in some extra strands of hair perhaps. And I don't know, I see a line here. So I'm gonna use that as an excuse to outline her little chinny chin chin. Also, the upper lip is jet black at the bottom, and also it's kind of just like this weird thing where this whole side is shaded, and it makes that shape like that, which I think is super cool. All right, so now I'm gonna take a step back and like reassess our shadows. Like, what do we have going on? She also has like these kind of like lines here and lines here. Just saying, maybe she's had a little bit of a rough day. Now I'm gonna take a step back and reassess and just do like a once over. We're gonna punch up any highlights, and then we're gonna throw in any more shadows that we might have missed. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the shadows first. Where does it need to be punched up? So look at this, we have our references. Look how that is black. Do I have it black on mine? No, I don't. That can be way more, that can be way darker. So when you're done with your first pass, go back again and make sure that you're being nice and aggressive. You can't have too much shading, but this is really like, this is black right here. So you just gotta draw what you see, and I see this whole area that is like jet black. Okay, boo, boo, boo. Now, if that transition is way rough, then we ease it with some more graphite, because remember how we can't blend the black, but we can blend the graphite. So you can try to make a dark layer of graphite, or you can just, you can also try to just put a lighter layer of black. So either, whatever works is always the answer. Like, which one? Whatever one works. So that's a little bit better, but I don't really like the transition. It kind of looks like black, and then it's like gray, and I need like, so what I'm gonna do is, where the heck is my China marker? Oh, there it is. So what I'm gonna do is then I'll ease that by just pushing down not as hard with my black. Kind of doing that. Oop. And also like this, look how dark that is shaded. This is really dark. Okay, that's why we have to look at our value scale and be like, what do you see? Get those circles and compare them to what you are drawing, and then take a step back. It's also really helpful to look like in your phones. You can take a picture of your work and look at it through the viewfinder. That usually does a really good job. Oh, look at how black it is under her eye. It's literally pitch black, like black, black, black. Right here. And same up here. I can't even see where her eye like disappears into her hair. It's literally super black right there. And then her eyes are the same thing. Like they're really, really dark. I'm just making little spoke things because I want to. And then I see over this side, like that is a lot darker too. So I'm going back in with my pencil and I'm gonna make it darker. And then there's some this way as well. And then there's like a gap in the middle. So I'm just gonna let that be the paper. Okay, And then this is darker than I had it, so I'm going in there, and this is darker too. Her lip is also interesting. Dark. And this is darker than the paper. She looks a little dirty, but that's just kind of what it is. And then this is black under here. I could even use the black Sharpie and like continue it. And she has like a collarbone situation right here. And then yeah, her nose. Her nose has interesting shadow shapes as well. Remember, she has this like kind of crook in her nose. And it's so funny, this is an interesting one because there's actually, again, like the paper isn't used that much. It's like either lighter than the paper or darker in the paper. So there's actually very little that's the paper, which is interesting because a lot of tone paper projects, it's actually mostly the paper. But just because of the one I chose. All right, so her shadows have been punched up, but we actually have like no bright lights anywhere. So now I'm gonna go with we gotta do the opposite and be like, what is like shockingly bright? Now I'm not gonna make her, I can, but I'm not gonna go and take and really whiten her skin like I can, but I'm not going to, but just know that you can. I'm gonna do two shocking bright, look at what that does. We could do nothing more, and she already just came to life because of those highlights. Like, it's so cool. And then the whites of her eyes, we can you can accentuate those a little bit, but don't screw up like I did. Go over the line. And she even has like some highlights like on the bottom of her eye, like there. We can even kind of fake it and do one there. And then, she has a really big, genuine highlight on her lip. So let's put that in there. We can just go boop, and it's kind of like a line like that. This isn't really highlighted, but it looks like it's very striking to me. This, how that kind of punches out. And then here's a little artist secret. I'm going to pretend that her nose is more highlighted because she has so little like differentiation on there that I'm gonna use the power of the paint marker to kind of like punch that region out. So kind of like fake highlights is what we're doing. And you can do some here. You can kind of like work the system a little bit. And maybe there's like a peekaboo here. Okay, maybe, oh, maybe there's somewhere in her cheekbone. So these are areas that come forward naturally on a person. So like her little chin could be here. So now I'm taking the picture that is kind of flat because this whole area is like annoyingly just washed out and bright. So by having specific little highlight punches, we can kind of make this one a little bit more kind of exciting, if you will, since it wasn't really having its own. So all these little places that I'm poking with my white marker are places on the body that come out. And that's why I know that I can pop a highlight there. So again, like the chin, cheekbones. Okay, we have a little thing there. You can also have little twinkles in the what's it called? The tear duct. This ridge right here in the eyebrow ridge, again, cheekbone. In a lot of photos will have a shadow line on this side as well, where the hair comes down. That's pretty normal, I would say. And it also kind of breaks up that side of the face. But these little areas of white highlights you can add, and also like right here can be really highlighted because that's like the side of the head that light would kind of reflect off of there. So we can actually force highlights, like put in fake highlights, but these are based on all the years of experience I have drawing faces. I know where the light hits, but you can also feel your face. Oh, and this is also why I keep a foam hat on my table at all times, okay? This is the reason why. So as you see this, okay, I put a white here. That's because the cheekbone is popping out right here. I put a highlight there. That's because, look at that. See that? That's poking out. That's why I did that. I put a light here. So I'm pretending now that there's a light source that's extra bright and it's picking up these places. Now, I put the highlight on the wrong side of her nose. I could also put it on this side. So it was almost like accentuating the picture highlight. I could also do it on the other side actually, and it would be fine as well. It would read fine. So again, these are all the places here and here that are poking out. So I did the nose, right? The little lipstick. Oh, this poor little thing's been dropped so many times. But see this one, I'm pretending the light like caught on that part of her poor busted lip. And the light could catch here and here. And that's why I have highlights here and here. So I'm not making these things up. Theirs is just based on actual lights and faces. So here's another highlight. See that? That's because this cheekbone pops out. And the same with this brow bone. So there's your highlight there. Okay, so that's why all these little places, you can even have, like, see how the ball of her nose sticks out? Ooh, going back here. We could even just do like the ball of her nose, whoop, as its own thing. And if it's too much, I just like blunk my finger in it. She even has like one there. You want to like highlight. You can, as soon as you tap a highlight, it like brings that body part forward, right? So interesting. Boop, there it goes. You can also put highlights in her hair, by the way, or eyelashes. So let's say we want to highlight her beautiful collarbone. Well, that's like a little, we could, but I might do the like white pencil for that instead because it's a little bit more subtle. Again, when you do the marker, it's like no joke. But we could do this and this and this to show the areas that are, you know, lighter. And then of course you can, and already that's like becoming dimensional. Do you see that? So every time you add a darker shadow or a lighter, your lighter highlight, you're really making a lot of dimension. So you can even highlight like pieces in her hair. Okay, so maybe just one here and a couple here. Whee! All right, and so that's just people asking like, how do you know? Well, you're just adding them in after the fact. So it's, you know, she's not super realistic or anything, but just having those pops of highlights and knowing where to put the highlights will help you. So seriously, like, get a foam head. And if you turn off, if you mess with your lighting, you can really learn where the different shading parts go. So you could have a highlight on her eyelid. See how I did that? Didn't even talk about that. That's how I know. Again, playing and drawing so many times. So we can have a highlight there and a highlight on her eyelids. And that's because I've just mimicked my studio lighting to mimic this lighting now, where there's more lighting on the left. So the right side is dark, right side is dark. And then again, these highlighted regions, boop, 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 are all things that I am seeing right here. See that? Those are just places that are naturally highlighted when the light source comes from the left. So, as you can see, this concludes our 3-part series on drawing on toned paper. But I hope you learned a lot. I hope you understand why the value scale is absolutely everything, and why having a good balance of darks and lights makes a better picture, and including all of the tones all the way from black to white can really make a really awesome impact in your artwork. If you have any questions, you can just drop them in the comment section below. If you thought this series was helpful, feel free to subscribe, like, share with your favorite Facebook groups, and yeah, come hang out with me again. I also have a mixed media channel here called Campbell Mixed Media here on YouTube. If you'd like to dive into different mediums, I know I do, but I will see you guys soon. And maybe I'll just do one more project to wrap it up just for fun. So stay tuned for next time, and thanks for hanging with me.